Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Hey, welcome to World Entertainment, and I just did a video the other day about Sam Raimi talking about whether or not he will come back to do a Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire, and he pretty much shot it down. However, there is another one of his movies that he is saying he's developing right now. It's Darkman. Remember Darkman? Now, Darkman had 3 movies, but apparently the second and third movie weren't quite official, because Sam Raimi is now talking about going back to make an actual sequel to the first movie, which of course starred Liam Neeson as the hero, Darkman. So let's take a look at this, because this is an interesting one. Now, Darkman as well came out in 1990. That's when Darkman came out, and it was an R-rated superhero movie. The next one came out in 95, and it was called Darkman 2, The Return of the Rant, who was the villain in the first movie. And then the third one came out in 96, and it was called Darkman 3, Die Darkman Die. And the funny thing is, somebody different played the character of Darkman in each one of the movies. So let's see what Sam Raimi has to say. So it's saying Sam Raimi has made some highly regarded superhero movies, but one of his underappreciated cult movies is potentially getting a real sequel after more than 35 years. Well, everyone knows of Raimi's work on his Spider-Man trilogy and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Darkman is a film that has often slipped under the radar, but according to the director, a sequel is in development and is just in need of someone to back it financially. Speaking to MovieWeb ahead of the release of his new movie Send Help, Raimi was asked whether there had been any plans to revive Darkman, and his response was more positive than many would expect. He said, "Yes, Ghost House Pictures, the company I work with, is trying to make the sequel right now. We've got a screenplay and 2 great directors, but we're still having a little difficulty with the financing. It's always the same in the movie business." So Darkman was released in 1990, starring Liam Neeson as Dr. Peyton Westlake, who takes on the persona of Darkman after being brutally beaten and left for dead by gangster Robert Durant, only to be given an experimental treatment that leaves him with superhuman abilities but mentally scarred, and on a revenge mission to hunt down those who disfigured him. The film was Raimi's homage to Universal horror movies and his attempt to create an original superhero when the studio blocked him from gaining the rights to The Shadow. The film was well received by critics, who scored it 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think Rotten Tomatoes was around at that time, while praising Raimi's work on a memorable movie that delivered an unexpectedly gruesome story that bears the haunting soulfulness of a gothic tragedy while packing the stylistic veneer of Owen Abdipir springing off a comic strip page. Audiences were not quite as taken with the movie, but still turned it into a reasonable box office success, as it turned a 14 million budget into a 48.8 million worldwide haul. The film spawned 2 TV movies, neither of which were well received. Don't remember them being TV movies. I did see at least one of the sequels. I'm not sure if I saw both the sequels, but I definitely saw one of them. They were garbage, by the way. What's her name? Roxanne Dawson, who of course played Belana Torres, was in one of them. I think it was the third one that she was in. It was either that one or the second one, but it's one of those 2. So the idea of them doing a new one, where they're saying a real sequel, so obviously it would retcon those other 2 movies, which makes sense because, again, they were garbage. If you watch Darkman now, if you've never seen it, it is quite strange. Like, it is one of these weird kind of over the top type of movies. So just like brace yourself for that. I think it's interesting that he says the company and him are working on it, They've got directors attached. They're just looking for the financial stuff. But he said nothing about Liam Neeson, whether it will be Liam Neeson coming back. So I find that interesting. Like, are they going with someone different, or are they going to just try and get him back? Maybe they haven't spoken to him yet, but it's interesting that he hasn't said anything about Liam Neeson. And I'm surprised MovieWeb didn't follow it up and say, oh wow, that's cool, is Liam Neeson coming back? It's interesting that there's no mention of Liam Neeson whatsoever. But Darkman, especially now, could work, because it would be something very alternative to DC and of course Marvel, especially seeing as the fact that if it's, you know, a true sequel to the first one, then it's going to be that R-rated thing. And it was R-rated, by the way, for like violence and language, more so the violence though, because he like gets properly messed up and stuff like that. So would they continue to be R-rated? You would think so. And maybe that's where the financial issues coming in. Maybe they want to keep it R-rated, but everyone they're talking to with it are kind of like, we're not sure about investing X amount into something that, you know, if it's R-rated, are we guaranteed to get money back on it and stuff like that? Don't know. Maybe that is one of the holdups. Otherwise, I think it's an interesting idea. And of course, at this stage, it could end up just being for Netflix or something. But if he's talking about, we're looking for someone to finance it, does he give it to the likes of Netflix or Amazon if they are the ones to turn around and say, oh, we'll give you the money, we'll finance it for us? You know, does he want it to be on the big screen, or does he want it to like just be made and doesn't matter where it ends up? That's another question I think that needs to be asked. And then of course, the first one was made for 14 million. How much could you make another one now for? Obviously, they probably want a bigger budget, and if Liam Neeson is back, I'm sure that would increase the budget as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with it, whether or not it does actually come to function or not. But the fact that he says they're currently working on it right now, that they've got a screenplay, they've got directors, I think that's interesting as well, directors, they're just looking for the financing. It sounds like that's pretty much the only holdup right now. And again, he hasn't said anything about Liam Neeson, so we don't know whether or not he's going to be back or not. But what do you guys think? Would you be interested in seeing another Darkman, a true sequel to the original film? And of course, if you've seen the first movie, are you a fan of it? Do you think, it's not for me? Let me know what you think about all this. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like and share and subscribe and all that good stuff. Cheers, and I shall catch you in the next one.